Welcome to Lessons in Progress,
the podcast where growth is messy,
lessons are ongoing,
and perfection is not the goal.
I am your host, Jessie
and Alicia.
Welcome back to another episode of Lessons in Progress. We're super excited for episode 4. We have our first guest on the podcast. So Alicia's going to quickly introduce our guest, and then she's also going to tell you a little bit about her.
All right. Well, this is our friend Kenzie Murphy. She just got married, so we have a new last name. Kenzie, can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, my name is Kenzie. I am originally from a small town in Utah called Tooele. That's where I went to high school. And then I went to the University of Utah. Go Utes, yeah. And I taught in Salt Lake City, a couple of elementary schools until just recently last year. And then I just moved to O'Fallon, Illinois, and where I've been living with my husband and my daughter. So that's a little bit about me. I've been teaching or in education for this is going on my 9th year, which listening to your last podcast when you're saying how weird it is to say, like, I'm not a new teacher anymore. Like this is almost 10 years. And people leave within 5 years. So yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Thank you for sharing. We're going to get a little bit deeper into like her other parts of her license. So you guys will get to know her a little bit better in a little bit, but we're still going to do our pre-topic cues. So the first question, we'll start with you and then we'll work our way this way. What's something you're looking forward to this month?
Oh, well, I mean, you guys go back to work tomorrow. I go back to work on Monday. So I think I am really actually looking forward to go back to work. I live off a schedule. I love the routine. So I'm looking forward to get back into the classroom and go back to work.
I honestly second that. I'm looking forward to it now. I feel like in like 2
Yeah,
weeks.
let's talk to each other in, a month and then say, "Okay, I'm ready for summer again."
Let's see. What else though to be a little different? What else could I don't know. I feel like August is just for a teacher, like back to school month. I did my back to school shopping yesterday, so I was looking forward to that and I slayed back to school shopping, honestly. So yeah, I'm just excited to like be back in the classroom, meet my new kids. It's quite the adventure.
Always.
We'll see.
Okay, well, second, all of that.
Yeah.
With you. But I also am excited. I'm going to be going to Dallas this weekend, and I've never been to Texas, and I'm going with my husband a day, and we're going for a wedding for his cousin. And so I'm really excited because we have talked about leaving Utah, and Texas is one of the places. So it'll be really fun to kind of figure out how we like it. And so I'm looking forward to that as well as just meeting the new kiddos. So it'll be good. All right. So our next question that we have is what's your current favorite song on repeat? Oh. Okay, my favorite song.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Okay, Ken, do you have one first?
Okay, don't cancel me, but I love Drake. Okay, and he came out with this new song called Which One? I really like that. And then also Rip Ozzy. Me and my dad used to listen to Ozzy Osbourne when I was little, so I've been also listening to a lot of Black Sabbath and Ozzy Osbourne. But I would say that's like where I'm at right now. So
I didn't know that Drake came out with a new song.
he comes out with something new all the time, and I'm like, don't cancel me, but I love him.
I'm like, he's a good artist. I need to go. What's it called?
It's called Which One?
Okay,
Yeah.
I need to listen to it. My repeat song right now has been. I love Justin Bieber's new album. Like, it's just like a wine.
Brings you back to 7th grade.
But it's like wine on the patio kind of vibes. Like I just love it. It's like soft girl energy, which I'm like in now. So thank God. I think from that album though, what's it called? Either Devotion or Go Baby. The like what's it?
That's my
That's my baby.
Oh, is that the one about his wife?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Taste like both of them.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
friend. I did it. It's so cute. I loved my response.
Oh, I love it. Okay, for me, I'd say I've been listening to a lot of like Latin music. I've been taking Espanol, so And there's been a really old song that's been like going on TikTok recently called Corazón sin cara. And I have just been loving it and I keep singing it. And it's an old one, so you should check it out. Really good. Love it.
I got all my Latin music from Alicia, so
Good babe, as I wanna na na na. It's literally the best. So, yeah, those are some songs. I also really have loved Justin Bieber's new album, and I like Yukon. Yeah,
Mhm.
Yukon's been a
Mhm.
good one. All right. Well, we said we're going to be getting into a little bit more about Ken's. And so we're going to be talking about like some family dynamics and blended families. And so the first question that we have is just asking, like, can you share a little bit more about your family dynamic and what your family looks like?
Yeah, so I personally, I come from a really traditional family. My parents are still married, and I know that both of your parents are still married, which is really rare. So shout out Mark and Trish because they're amazing. And then I have a little brother named Max and a little sister named Oakley, and then they have their partners. And then I did have a brother who passed away when I was younger. Um, and so technically I have two brothers and a sister. So growing up, I had a really traditional family. And then when I was 20, I found out at 6 months that I was pregnant with my now 10-year-old daughter named LJ, and that just brought on, like, a whole new dynamic because I grew up in the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, which is, like, the church here, and having, activities before marriage is not, like, a good thing, right? So, it was hard, and I did end up, like, marrying her dad, and then later we were divorced. And it's very good now, like, I have no bad blood with her dad at all or his family, but he is remarried and they have a child, and then I'm also remarried and we are expecting our first child, at the end of this year. So, that's kind of what it looks like now. Like, I know a blended family a lot of the time is like, your spouse will have kids and then you will have kids, so they become step siblings, but with LJ, these are her, like, half siblings, and if you ask LJ, she doesn't like you to call them her half siblings, like, those are her siblings. She's like, "I don't like when people say that they're my half siblings because they're my siblings," you know? So, blended family, like, we all and it took a long time for us to all get along, but we get along really well now. We communicate super well, and I know that not everybody is lucky enough to have that in a blended family or in any type of post-divorce relationship. So that's kind of what we look like now is we've got those 2 different dynamics with our 1 child, and then we both have either a kid on the way or a kid with us now.
Yeah, and I've been able to see you like navigate the journey and everything. And
Oh, Alicia's been there the whole time.
And no, you guys have done like it's a beautiful job because at the end of the day, like LJ is your guys' child, whether it's like your ex-husband and Matt. And you guys are doing a great job with like making sure that she feels like the love, she feels supported, and you guys co-parent really well together. So I yeah, props to
Yeah.
you guys.
Yeah, and also shout out my husband, Matt. He is an amazing person. I'm sure we'll get into him later, but I can't imagine that it's easy to take on a child that's not your own. He doesn't have any kids of his own, so it was really just mine going into the relationship. And also, shout out to Leanna's stepmom too. Same thing. Like taking on a kid that's not your own is so huge. And so to both of them taking on that role and like having no question of treating her any sort of way that isn't their own is huge. So I mean, speaking for myself, it took us a long time to get to where we are, but we're doing actually really well. So yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
That is beautiful. I don't know LJ as much as Alicia, obviously, but she's like the sweetest little thing. So the fact that
Oh,
she's
she knows you. Like when we watch the podcast, she's like, "That's Miss Gordon," and I was like, "Yeah, it is Miss Gordon."
she's
So
so sweet. And like the fact that she wants them to be well, they are, but like
Mhm.
she wants people to call them like her siblings
Mhm.
and not like half like
Yeah, she was really confused. I think it was initially when her stepmom found out she was pregnant. We were really happy for her, and LJ was telling her friends, and one of her friends had mentioned or somebody had mentioned to her, "That's not your, like, full sibling, that or you call them half siblings," and so she said that really bothered her. That's not my half sibling, like, that's my sibling, like,
Mhm.
that's just how it is, and that's how she views it, and I don't know. I did not teach her that. She just is, like, an amazing person, so
Yeah, she's so sweet. Okay, well, I'm sure that all of that, like, has caused some emotions. good, bad, happy, sad along the way. So, what was one of the most surprising emotions that you felt during the like blending process or like the introduction process whenever you realized like you and your husband were like serious?
Like, for real.
Yeah.
Right. I think one thing that a lot of people, when they're dating normally without kids, one conversation you should be having with your partners is, first of all, do you want to have kids? And then second of all, if you agree on the kids, I really think that you need to have conversations about how you raise your kids and what type of expectations that you hold for them and what you hold for each other. And for me, when me and my husband started dating seriously, LJ wasn't a baby anymore. She wasn't even a toddler. Like, she was a child, full in elementary school. So I already had a routine with her. We already had certain expectations about chores or, going out to eat or just like different things that like you talk about as a family unit. And so I think one of the most emotional things was like trying to listen to Matt and what he wanted as a father. And now that we're expecting our own child, diving back into it after almost 11 years of having a baby. And how do you want to raise these people, like these kids, to be people? And what are expectations that you have of them? And then the most surprising thing is just like how good that Matt was at taking her in. You would never expect that he was a stepdad. And my parents, like, when my parents started meeting Matt and he started coming around more often, that was the one big thing that my mom had said was the way that he treats her is insane. Because I never, and Alicia can vouch for this, when I was dating other people too, kind of like weird, I never introduced anybody to LJ. I was like, we need to be dating for 6 months. Like, you calling me your girlfriend for like 6 months before I'll ever introduce you. And so the fact that it was just so surprising. It was so incredible to watch. I don't think I could have found anybody better. Like, so lots of other emotions too, obviously, like anger and a lot of, I had like another word for resistance, like the tension. The tension can get a lot, but just like keep having conversations with your partners, especially when it comes to kids. Like, don't stop the conversation at, do you want to have kids? Keep the conversation going of, okay, well, what happens when we run into this and this problem? And now LJ is going into 5th grade and then she'll go into junior high. So it's like, oh my God, well, what are we gonna do when she like starts to go to high school and she has a car, and like what are expectations for friends? And so just like always continuing those conversations.
Yeah, well, I think what's huge too is like I see you as a mother obviously all the time, and you are literally such an amazing mother. I've seen you raise LJ, and she's just like the sweetest, most angel baby. I love her so much.
She's the sweetest thing ever. Like, I don't think, I'm very biased. Everybody thinks this about their kid. But
No,
like genuinely,
no, she's different.
so good. Yeah, she's the best.
Yeah,
And,
she's amazing, and I think too, like Matt, like seeing him kind of take on that role and just like step into those shoes, he's done an amazing job. And seeing LJ and Matt's
that's
relationship,
not easy. Like, I really, and same thing with women who meet men that have children. There's that double standard of like, women have this motherly nature and men don't have any sort of like maternal or paternal instinct. And that's so wrong, because there are some women that my ex dated that were terrible. And him and I would talk, and he was like, well, she said this about LJ, and so I knew to cut it off. And which was, huge, obviously, like big props to him, because he has the same expectations that I do about Leanna. So just like finding two people that loved LJ like that is huge. So yeah.
yeah, and I feel like too, like when you're stepping into like all of this, you feel a lot of emotions, but like what Jesse said, like happy, sad, all of that. So how do you feel like you were able to like take care of yourself in this process while also like juggling everyone else's emotions?
That is such a good question. Like, how as a mom do you take the time to yourself to make sure that you're taking care of yourself while also taking care of the people around you? And for me, a lot of it came from like continuing my education was a huge one. So I graduated with a bachelor's degree in elementary education. And then a few years later, my best friend Brianna, she got her master's degree, and she really pushed me. I was like, hey, it's actually not as intimidating as you would think it would be. So I kind of followed in her footsteps and did a separate program. It was educational leadership and policy with my emphasis in instructional coaching. And I think that is a big thing, but that was just personally for me. That's not going to be everyone's first inclination. Like, yeah, let me go spend $15,000 on a master's degree. But it was mine because it was something I felt I had ownership with. Another thing was taking time with my friends and letting LJ know that these are my friends and we're going to hang out with them too. I remember when I had my apartment in Salt Lake City that was right down the street from the school that we taught at. And we would have me and Alicia and our two best friends, Brianna and Mitchell, over every weekend. And Leanna was like, she would go upstairs and she'd like do her own thing, or she'd be playing outside with like the neighborhood kids. And she'd be like, I heard Mitchell laughing. Like, she's like, I know Mitchell's over here. I know your friends are coming. Are your friends coming over this weekend? So like showing your kids that you have passions too. Golfing was like another, like getting outside, being active. You are a model for your kids. So staying active and doing something for yourself, demonstrating that for them is so important because they're not gonna, it's like teaching. Like, how do kids best learn? By modeling. So
No, I love that you said that because I like am a firm believer that like kids aren't gonna learn unless you model for everything. Like not just in school, like how they're not gonna know how to take care of themselves if their parents don't take care of themselves.
like, if you're not brushing your teeth, like what in God's green earth makes you think that your kids are gonna brush their teeth? Like, and then that's a like far crazy example, but how are you expecting your kids to like create relationships if you don't have healthy relationships to model for them? So I think it was like a variety of things, my education and reading and golfing and being outside and spending time with friends was how I kind of kept myself really grounded.
So another question, more like advice, reflection, like something fun. Um, what do you wish that more people like understood or like respected a little bit more about blended families?
I think one thing that I wish people understood more is that we're not the families that you like see on TikTok where the baby mom is recording the stepmom because this and that and like, don't get me wrong, I love watching those videos on TikTok. I'm glued in. But that's just to me personally, every person that I know who's in a blended family has a good relationship with their partner, but that does not come without communication and taking a second to be like, okay, our marriage didn't work. That's okay. That doesn't mean that like our child has to suffer for the rest of their lives just because our marriage didn't work. And I just wish more people understood that it's okay that I like you're friends with these people. And I went to Leanna's stepmom's baby shower back in May and I brought Leanna with me. And people were like, that's not weird. I was like, well, she invited me. And, I don't have any ill will against her. And so I just wish that people understood that like it's not that serious. Like,
Yeah, and I think like you showing by example, like, yeah, me and your dad didn't work out, but like that doesn't mean like we can't get along like grown adults. Like I can respect you. He's your father and he's always going to be your father. And this is your stepmother. And like we can have a great relationship because we want you to succeed and thrive.
yeah,
So,
they said there's nothing to do about us anymore. It has everything to do about this child that we have together. And whether you like it or not, they're going to be around for a long time. So you can either have a good attitude about it, or ultimately you're not the one that suffers. It's your child is the one that suffers.
yeah, period. So what advice would you give another mama just starting like this kind of journey blending families and all the stress and everything? Like what advice do you wish you got from another mom?
Please communicate with your husband. And I'm going to put myself like on the shit pedestal. There were a lot of times where I thought, I'm not gonna bug Matt. He doesn't need to know about this. He doesn't I don't wanna bother him. And then and then I'd have a conversation with my ex, and then Matt would be like, "I would have loved to be in that conversation. Like, what do you mean? You had this whole talk and and then he's confused, and then I'm like stuck between defending myself and then being like, well, I just didn't want to bug you. And so I think if you're starting out a blending process, involve your current partner or your current spouse as much as you can because they're also in this with you and the communication happens a lot. We talk me and my husband obviously talk every day, all day, but me and my ex probably talk once a week, if not more than once a week. And we all have a group chat. And so everything is just so transparent and on the table, not for any like other reason other than we just want to be communicating with each other. So if you're starting this journey as a blended family, like please keep your partner involved and your spouse and secrets can not that you're keeping secrets, but it can look kind of sketchy a little bit.
Yeah. I just feel like the overarching thing is like communication. Like,
Always.
yeah.
Like what are I think the three pillars of a relationship are communication, finances, and sex. You like you're missing one of those, like your tripod falls and and it's not gonna work out. And it's kind of the same thing, like the communicate when is communication not a good idea?
Right.
Like I'd rather have you kind of over communicate with me sometimes than not.
Yeah. No, love that. I've never heard those three pillars. I actually love that.
Don't you love the three pillars?
Yeah.
Think about it. I'm like, everything either falls under communication, finances, or sex.
I hope everyone's sex pillar is strong though.
If your finance pillar isn't strong, I hope your sex one is.
Yeah, like I really hope that one's making up for it because
That is scary.
that's
It's
a little
scary.
bit. Yeah. Oh, we should have a. Never mind. Anyway, okay. So a little fun question to end out like this segment before we go into our next one. Who runs the house? Your child, your husband, or you?
Oh my gosh. We were talking about this the other day, I think, because Alicia says that a day runs the house. And then we were kind of talking with some other friends. I think that there are different things that we run the house with, right? When it comes to like cooking, grocery shopping, cleaning, scheduling, calendars, routines, like I am the boss. Like, okay, well, mom will take care of it. Mom's going to do this. Oh, mom knows what the schedule is. When it comes to finances, handiwork, can you change my oil? Like that is Matt for sure. And then when it comes to like running the house, what are we gonna do today? Where are we going? That's Miss Shorty, Miss LJ. She is like, so I think we should play video games and then we'll go on a little walk and then we're gonna come back and we're gonna watch Up, like Disney Pixar Up, and then we're gonna have popcorn and go to bed. So I think it's kind of we all take a little responsibility in some aspects.
No, I love that. I mean, a day overall, like, has the final say. Unfortunately, I don't like to admit that.
Get close.
Well,
I
it's
want you
kind
to
of hard.
snuggle.
It's kind of hard to sit all this way this
Snuggle,
whole
girly.
time.
Come on.
Okay, sorry. So here we go. We're all close now. I can't sit crisscross and like we
It's
don't
okay.
have
And I
a
lean,
fit.
I
So
know, I'm like gonna lean
we're a
over
little
this
to
way
the side.
too.
We're to the side today. But no, I love that. And I just appreciate you being willing to like talk about your life outside of teaching because obviously, like when we started this podcast, we have like lessons in progress. We're always learning, but like also period more than a teacher. And so
Yeah, and that's why I love that you guys talk about that because every teacher podcast I listen to is always funny things that my 7th grader said on the Google Classroom. And it's funny to listen to. And then every administration podcast I talk to is the do's and don'ts of admin. And I'm like, God, I wish I could see these people in a real light instead of instead of just what they are. So I love that.
yeah.
That you guys are doing this.
Yeah, so we appreciate you just being open and sharing that because I feel like it helps so much. And then, like, being the best educator, you also need to take care of yourself. And there's so many things going on outside of the classroom that affect who you are. And so I just love, like, we really appreciate you being willing to talk about that and sharing that. But switching it up and kind of diving into your educational experience, which you are a queen, you're amazing. You were amazing 5th grade teacher at the school that we work at. And just, I love seeing how you interact with students. But you also were coaching. You did some coaching. So I wanted to see
Did.
what made you want to step into the coaching after being in the classroom.
Let me just say, everything I'm about to say, you can disagree with me. I had an amazing coach when I was a first year teacher. I was an intern through the University of Utah, and I had an amazing intern coach. she completely transformed what I thought teaching was, and I admired her. 50% of her workload was dedicated to me and my co-teacher, Alex, who taught 4th grade, and then 50% of her time was other coaching responsibilities, PLCs, coaching cycles, etc. And then I was so incredibly lucky that when I moved to Lincoln, I had another incredible coach named Anai that
Period.
oh my god, Alicia, shout out Anai. Oh my god, this I like I can't say enough good things. So for me, it was the coaches in front of me. And then as I went through my educational career, I was involved in a lot of various leadership opportunities through the district that we work in or that I worked in. And I just was thinking, oh, this is something that I could really do. And I want people to not only love teaching as much as I do, but understand that they can do all the things that they want to, even with a government funded classroom. Even like the little limited resources that we are given, you can still do it. And I wanted everybody to love teaching as much as me. Don't think I did that. I think a lot of people uh, that came very much came out that I showed up an hour before contract time and left 30 minutes after contract time, and I did not have a good work-life balance when I first started, but that was kind of like what initially drove me into coaching.
Um, I love that you shouted out Denai because I mean she
I
was my assistant principal for 1 year, but
and now she's a principal.
now she is principal. I remember I was like steaming, literally like Alicia came with me. I had a parent that was like literally just had the I'm sorry, the dumbest request for me that I was like, I am not your child's babysitter, I'm not their mom, I'm not. And so I went to an eye and I was like, I'm not calling this parent. This is ridiculous, yada yada yada. And she's like, so let me make sure I'm hearing you correctly. You're not gonna tell the parent.
You're like, "That's what I just said."
Period. Like, no, I'm not. And she's like, I respect it. I was like,
And that was how she was as a coach.
yeah.
We would get introduced to new curriculum or new procedures or routines or some professional development, and let me tell you, the upper grade teachers at Lincoln, they will put their foot down,
Mm.
and I had a hard time with that at the beginning, and then I learned, to question things, especially if you had questions or you had concerns, especially for the demographic that we served, and she just the way that she handled things, like, my god, and I was like, "I want to do that, I want to be that," and very quickly realized that that's just because she's an amazing person, and I had a lot to learn and a lot of practice to do.
That actually kind of segues perfectly into the next question. Was there a moment as a coach where you thought, I really miss teaching?
Oh my gosh. Okay. How do I get into this? Because as at least in our district, we typically have 2 to 3 coaches in a classroom or in a school. You have your technology coach, we have our literacy coach, and then we have instructional coaches. Literacy coaches really focus more lower grades, kinder, first, second, because building literacy is so incredibly important in those lower grades. Instructional coaches really dive more into third, fourth, fifth, because hopefully you have those skills of reading, and now it's really reading to learn.
Mhm.
And so there was a few times where I would work with the 5th grade team and I would co-plan a lesson where we would then go to where we were going to co-teach a lesson. And I really was like, I'm going to piggyback off of you. I am going to follow your lead. And we would practice and talk about things, but then being in the classroom with the kids and, like, when you walk into the room and the kids are like, "Miss Jackson," and I'm like, "I feel like a celebrity." It's just like, I realized, like, "Oh my god, I am doing this for the kids." Like, I loved being around the kids. I loved interacting with the kids. I loved watching the light bulb go off. I loved watching them do something that made them uncomfortable, but they did it anyways. I think it was genuinely this is so lame, but it was the kids. I just miss being in the classroom. I would go to both of your classrooms. I did coaching cycles with both of you, and even being with you guys, I was like, I just want to be here all day. Like, and then I go back, like, again, like, I go back to the coach's office, and it's me and 2 other coaches in there, and I'm like, "Ugh, boring." Like, vibes are down, you know? And so I would always try to be out of the coach's office and around kids. I just and then so then last year, just for context, like, I went back to teaching when I moved to O'Fallon because our district is very small. There's only 5 elementary schools, 2 junior highs, and there are 2 coaches, I believe, and then a technology support specialist. And so I went back to the classroom, and, that was exactly what I needed. I loved it. I love teaching in O'Fallon. I love teaching in general, but it was the kids. Oof, I miss
No, I mean, you can totally see it, like, your relationships that you have with the kids and that energy that you have and the kids feed off of it, like, it's kind of it's just magical, it's so cute, and seeing you as a 5th grade teacher and, like, the relationships you built with those kids and the impact you've had with them, it was like it was beautiful.
it also helps that I have the humor of a 10-year-old, you
Yeah.
know? So, like, they would say TikTok trends, and
You're
they'd
like
be like, "Okay, cringe." Like, nobody says that anymore, like,
yeah, you were great with playing with the 5th graders. I would literally not know how to talk to them, but you ate it up. It was perfect.
thank you.
So, what was harder? What would you say? Because I mean, you have classroom management, you have kids that are stinky, getting ready for middle school, saying whatever they want. You have that part, but then you also have coaching, which is like another area where teachers kind of push back a lot.
Whole other ballgame, yeah, whole other ballgame.
So, what would you say is harder, like managing a classroom? I feel like I might know your answer, or getting someone to sign up for a coaching cycle.
Oh my god, getting people to sign up for a coaching cycle was the bane of my existence. Because here's my philosophy. This goes for everything. I am not going to pressure you into something
Period.
that is not going to support you professionally. So if you don't feel like working with me as your coach is going to help you professionally, then don't make me do it. But then of course, like, I get pressure from the district and from my coach to meet with every teacher once. And I'm like, okay, well, is meeting with every teacher like saying hi to them and like having a relationship with them? Or is it having a coaching cycle completed with every teacher? Because to be completely honest, Alicia did a coaching cycle with me probably because she was like, "Oh my god, I need to help this poor bitch." Jesse you were doing your ESL endorsement, and so she was like, "Yeah, we're gonna work on this together. Like, I need help with this project that I was doing for." So then we just kind of double dipped essentially and made it a coaching cycle. So it looked good for both of us, honestly. Um, God, no. I would deal with 30 fifth graders post recess, 90 degrees, 96% humidity, and someone just ripped somebody else's shirt, so now I've gotta call parents. Like, I would deal with that over, like, me pity emailing, like, "Hey, is there anything I can do for you?" And then, like, that radio silence. Like, I think there were some teachers that literally were like, "No, I don't wanna hear from you."
That's actually when I wrote that question, I
You knew how
knew
I was gonna
I
answer.
knew what you were gonna say. I'm like, "This is gonna be a good one." Well, at least you had me and Alicia that signed that early,
Great
very
coaching
early.
cycles, by the way, and good lord.
Oh, that's funny. Okay, we're gonna wrap it up. So what's one moment from either teaching or coaching that still gives you chills, but chills in a good way?
Oh my gosh. Chills in a good way. Uh, you guys you guys have been teaching for 7 and, like, all and, like, 6.5, 7 years, right?
Period. You got it to the T.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just listened to your most recent
Ooh.
episode. So you guys have a favorite class. Okay, I know it's problematic. Teachers always say, "I don't have a favorite class, I don't have a favorite kid." Okay, well,
They're
I'm
like,
gonna say they're lying. I have a favorite class and I have favorite kids. And I had this class, like, right before I left coaching for coaching.
Oh.
That you know exactly what group
I
I'm
know
talking
that
about.
class. That was
Oh my and, like, they were the ones who started student council at the school that at the school that we teach at, and so I had, like, student council kids in my class, and just our dynamic was unreal, and their test scores that year, oh my god, I had never seen proficiency like that in my classroom ever. And so that was kind of the time for me where I was like, "Oh my gosh, all of this time spent, like, planning and prepping and after school and before school and sacrificing, like, my like literally like closing my door so nobody comes in and bugs me. Um, and seeing it pay off and seeing kids go from red to blue. I had one kid who, like, God bless him, he was a refugee from Syria, and his family had just come to Syria the year before. And he was very lucky. He kind of already knew English. He was not by any means proficient, but he at least came in with a little bit of English. Beginning of the year, would not say a word. Read on reading, read on math, like, and math is a universal language. I was really surprised that he had education in Syria and then was still, like, so low, blew on everything at the end of the year. Everything, and I was just like, "Oh my gosh." I loved and so, they beat their math proficiency score, so we walked across the street to the 7-Eleven, and everybody got a Slurpee, and yeah, that's came out of my pocket, so and I would do it over and over again. Like, I loved them so much, and now they're going into 8th grade. Ugh, gross.
I know. I mean, I remember that class and how much joy, and they like threw you a party like for your birthday. They
On
like
my birthday.
they literally
Yeah.
organized it, planned it, surprised you. Like what an angel baby.
They, like, made a presentation of, like, why we love Miss Jackson, and they each had, like, a little and I was like, "Okay, first of all, what in the hell are you guys all doing this? Because I do not let you on your Chromebooks that much." So, like, but it was so cute, and I loved that group. I still keep in touch with, like, a lot of their parents because I still get to hear a lot about them. A lot of them still have, like, little siblings that are still at Lincoln, and it's just so great. Ugh, I loved them. So that was, like, my, like I always go back to that. And not that I don't love all of my other classes that I had, but just some were, like, more tough than the others, and this one really I just loved them so much.
All right. Well, I'm sure that like everyone listening probably knows the answer to this question that I'm about to ask you. But anyways, would you ever go back into coaching? Dun, 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 or is the classroom your forever home?
Well, let me just say this right now, I will not go back to coaching. I was not a good coach. I think
You were a good coach.
no, I think
You
why
were a good coach. You were.
I think the good thing for me is that luckily I already had really, really good established relationships with everybody. I knew everybody's personal boundaries. I knew what I could say and how to approach certain things. So, yeah, if you ask people, I was a good coach. I was also just knew you, and so I don't think I'll go back to coaching. I think my next step is honestly administration, which is even scarier than coaching it, in a certain way. But I do think that that is like being in the coaches area, coaching arena, I guess, versus the admin arena. I was always kind of like, ugh, I would just rather be the administrator at this point and not be more of a boss, but be more of a partner in that sort of way where I could actually make some changes and things because a coach is more of just a support, but an admin is like your partner, or if your admin's not your partner,
Yeah,
they should be your partner. And so I think, I am about to walk into a class of 31 fifth graders next week. I think that's going to be it. And I'm going to go into admin after that. That'll be 10 years. So cross fingers. Who knows?
Well, can you come back to Utah to be admin so that we
I
can
know. Stay tuned.
All right. Well, this was a fun podcast. We had a really fun time. We're gonna try to do this outro with one mic and two of us. So, are you ready?
here we go. All right. Well, until next time, be kind to yourself.
And remember, we're all lessons in progress.
Cheers!
This is not alcoholic, by the way. I just want everyone to know this is not alcohol.